I had that glow. You know, the one you have when you meet the love of your life at a wedding in Hawaii? And he wants to make you his forever. The one you have when you know that nothing can go wrong at 36. Well, it only took 3 little words to dim my light. I felt like I was jumped in a game, given these colors the color pink. I soon learned there was nothing pretty in pink. Managing the ebbs and flows after a breast cancer diagnosis was never ending. Our life together was just beginning, but we had no future in sight. I'm now standing here in my chemo glow, willing to share my moments, because I soon learned that the glow doesn't define me. I define the glow. Hi, guys. Welcome to Chemo Glow, where the glow doesn't define me. I define the glow. Tara, you are already on.
Hi.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Before I start talking to you real quick, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping because it has been a whole year since I've been on live. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Please make sure that you subscribe. Subscribe. You see that button? If you're on YouTube right now, and I have like 1 million followers, not, I really don't, but I need to get more. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Share for me too. You know, you guys been following me on Instagram, even though there's no lives going out there. We've been doing our podcast, Instagram. You can still follow all the Apple Podcasts, everything. So please follow us on Facebook, again, YouTube, and subscribe, like, follow. Today is a very special day because we're fading to pink. We're almost at the end of October. I understand the power of pink, but sometimes pink is so much. But we do it because we want to save lives. We want to see more birthdays. And my friend today is definitely going to tell this story, her story. I'm going to go ahead and bring her right back on here. Come on, Tara, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. We've been chatting for like 30 minutes before you guys even came on. So Tara is with Pink Ink Tattoo. And before we jump into that, we want to talk about what we're doing together, because we actually met each other like 11 years ago at the Making Strides event in North Hills. And you were newly diagnosed, and I was actually new to actually volunteering. That was my first thing at Making Strides, right? So Making Strides this year will be at Fenton, October 28th. And what time are we starting? We are starting at actually 9. You can come and register between 8 and 8:30. We're going to be out there. We're going to be ready to walk. So in Fenton and Cary, please come out and see us. Now, Tara has our own team out there too. She has her team. Join her team. Sign up and donate, because this is a fundraiser. So please join her team. We've been doing a lot of events together for the past, 6 months, I think. It feels like it anyway. So please make sure you join her team. I also have a team out there. It's Chemo Glow. And for this hour with Chemo Glow, I will match your donations up to $500. If you do real good, I might do a little bit more, but I will match your donations up to $500 within this hour. Please make sure you go to Chemo Glow for Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Triangle, and I'll get that actual link up here. So for this hour of this podcast, this live, I will match your donation up to $500. That is my pledge, because guess what? I want to make sure we make strides against breast cancer. So join us, join our team, donate to either one of our teams, and we want to make sure that we continue to save some lives out here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Oh my goodness, Tara, how have you been?
Busy and doing really well. How about
Really
you?
well. I've
Yeah,
been doing pretty good. We were actually doing some stuff with My Carolina. That was
we did.
good.
That
We
was
did
fun.
that. It was fun and it was pouring down rain.
And
You
it's
were
emotional.
and it's emotional.
Mhm.
And your son Alex was so amazing, helping us pose for pictures, making
Mm,
sure that we were on point, and making sure that his mom was doing everything. And that was such a fun interview. And we
yeah.
talked about the Making Strides event and everything that is going on in the Carolinas with Making Strides. So, what else have you been doing for Making Strides?
So we have definitely been, spreading the word, social media, just really out in the community, trying to bring awareness, especially this year. I think it's just going to be so special. It's a new location, it's just bigger and better. And so we're really looking forward to coming out there, this Saturday, joining together, raising awareness, raising funds, and just celebrating all the survivors, honoring everyone that's ever been affected, by breast cancer, and making it a really special, memorable day. So looking forward to that for sure.
L- Definitely looking forward to it. Well, let's talk about your story.
Okay.
That's your story is so amazing. I was able to hear just a little bit of it on My Carolina. And now I want you to just start out with what your story is about and how it began.
So, like yourself, young in my 30s, just living my life. I'm a nurse and I was just working, doing my shifts. And I thought, I'm raising my kids and, one thing at a time. And then at 39, I had a mammogram. I had a great physician that said, let's do a baseline. So we had started doing them in my 30s. And then at 39, had skipped a couple years and then I went um, and it came back, suspicious. I got that call. Hey, I've got an
Mm,
appointment ready for you with a breast surgeon. And I was just thought like, well, this is odd. I don't have family history of breast cancer. Matter of fact, I only knew one person that had ever been affected by breast cancer, which was a girlfriend
wow.
the year before. And we all just thought that was kind of like a fluke thing. I didn't really know anyone and except patients at work. So I wasn't too concerned until she said, well, it's for today at 1. And I thought, oh, wow. Okay. And she said, your films won't be there, but I've already talked to the breast surgeon. So she's aware of what's going on. And I said, well, I live by the hospital. I'll just swing in and grab them.
Hmm.
And that was probably the worst thing I could have ever done, especially being in the medical field because
Yeah.
I could somewhat read them. And when I pulled it out, of
Hmm.
the, envelope that it comes in, all I kept seeing was all these horrible, frightening words, and I
Yeah.
couldn't even say words about it. So I drove straight home, and I walked in the door, and I looked at my husband. I was like, we gotta go outside and talk. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't even talk about it inside, and so I was like, it is not good. Like this is what they're saying. And I started getting all worked up and my husband's like, hold on a minute, take a deep breath. We're going to go
Yeah.
see the surgeon. Don't start thinking about anything. Let's see what she has to say. So we, went to the appointment. There I am sitting in that room and with the crunchy pink half shirt on and,
Wait, stop,
sta-
stop, stop. Let's talk about
I
the
have what?
crunchy pea half shirt, right?
Yeah.
People don't understand. Like they
Mm,
give you the most comfortable clothes when
mm.
you're sitting in there, right? And you being a nurse, did they know you were a nurse?
No, I didn't tell anybody through the whole thing. And it's almost and I'm so glad because I didn't want them to think I understood or I knew because I'd never been down this path before. I didn't
Mhm.
know. And so I didn't want to tell anyone that, oh, I know that lingo. Plus I
Yeah,
wanted to also get it in so I could comprehend and absorb what they were saying.
yeah.
And so, after 7 hours of mammograms and ultrasounds that day, 7 hours, they had
7
shut
hours.
down. Everybody left. The receptionist was gone. It was me, the radiologist, and the breast surgeon, and my husband. And she was like, Tara, you know what? We don't see that big tumor there, and which was a 5 centimeter. They couldn't find
Uh-huh.
it. And I thought, oh, I don't feel it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll see you later. And they were like, but we did see calcification. And I went, oh, okay.
Mm.
So what are we going to do? And they said, well, we'll just monitor it for 6 months. And I go, I don't feel comfortable with that. And they said, well, the only other thing we can do is biopsy. And I go, sign me up. I'm
Exactly.
going to biopsy. Like, I'm not going to wait around. This 7 hours of pure is
Just to
night.
say, let's wait and see.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna wait and see. And thank God. And that's why I always just say you are your best advocate,
Yep.
because I said, no, I'm not going to wait and see. We're going to do the biopsy. So a couple of days later, went in and had that done. Stereotactic biopsy, which was, when you're diagnosed with breast cancer,
Yep.
and you talked about the pink, in the beginning, which is my favorite color. And my
Mhm.
company is Pink Ink Tattoo. But
I
but
wore this for you because everybody knows I don't do pink.
and I appreciate that.
Yes.
Um, but it isn't all
Pretty and
fluffy
pink.
and boas. You're
Mhm.
on a table halfway up in the air and your breasts are in these two, hanging, and you
Let's
just
talk
feel
about it.
so it's
Mhm.
just so I don't even know what the word, and people are walking around and you're just laying there and you're nervous about what's happening and what's are they going to find? Are they going to find
Mhm.
anything while you're in this humiliating situation? And so, she's like, it's a bunch of little rubber bands is what it's going to feel like. And it did, about 4,000
Yeah.
of them at one time. But I mean, you can do it,
Yes.
I don't want to scare anybody. I
Yeah.
made it through it. But then the phone call came and it
Yeah.
was, they said, you're stage 0 DCIS. It is
Mhm.
cancer though. And I go, okay, so what do we do? Well, we're going to have you come in. We're going to talk about treatment. You're 39. It's hormone positive. We want you to do. So I go in to see him and she tells me, tamoxifen, which is a hormone blocker that'll
Mhm.
take for 7 years, probably 10, because it was times are changing from 5 to 7 to 10,
Yes.
and a lumpectomy with radiation. And I said, and I had done my research. As soon as they came back and said it was cancer, I don't care what stage it was. I just heard that cancer word and
Mhm.
my whole life just spun around. And I grabbed every nursing book I had. I did all the research I could. And I just really prayed hard and talked to my family. And I said, this is what I want. I'm going to
Mhm.
fight for a double mastectomy. I am 39 and I don't want to live in a mammogram machine. And I'm not attached to these breasts like that.
Yes.
I don't, and that was my decision, my feeling and how I felt. And I respect everybody that chooses a different path. But for me, this is what I knew mentally that I was going to be okay with. So when I got to the office and I talked to her and she said, well, here's what we're going to do. The lumpectomy, radiation, and tamoxifen. I said, well, I want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do a bilateral mastectomy. Oh, you're so aggressive. And I go, yes, I am. Very much so am. Yes. And she said, Tara, statistically, the survival rate's the same and
Mhm.
insurance probably won't pay for prophylactic. And I was like, I don't care. This is what I
I
want.
want it.
Please listen to me. And so we went round and round.
Well, how long did you go round and round, and were you frustrated that you had to advocate for what you thought was best for you at the age of 39? Because remember, our reality, it is what we think. Nothing you can
Yeah.
say or do is going to change once we're
No.
like, yeah. And so, how long did it feel like you were going round and round?
Well, it felt like an eternity, but it was a
Hmm.
matter of a good probably 4 weeks, for sure, 5 weeks, and during that time, though, of her
Uh
and
huh.
I just going back and forth, and I'm like, "You're not listening to me." I have always been a strong nurse advocate for patients. Like, I
Hmm.
stand up, I'm gonna go fight, and if I have to stand up and march on the hill, I will for my patients,
Uh
you
huh.
know, and that's just the type of nurse I am, and so I took that on as myself too, because I know nobody can do it but me. And so I was like, you're not listening to me. This is what I want. Like, I've talked to people at work, my patients, I know their stories, I know my own, I know what I want. And it just was like this. And I respect her as an expert and that what she did, but at the
Yes.
same time, you have to listen to your patients as well. And so, during this period, I got a phone call, and my dad lived in Ohio, and he was on the way to the hospital and he was dying. And I just had to drop everything and rush to
Mhm.
his side. And so on my way home, and he passed away, which is so emotional. And
Yeah.
so, because he died on his birthday and he was 62 and he was so young, and it was a horrible, tragic death. But on my way home to plan this, she knew where I was. She knew what
Yes.
had happened. And she called me, and I was literally in the mountains. And she said, I've scheduled an appointment for your surgery. We're going to do the lumpectomy. And just,
Wow. Even
and,
after you
and
advocated.
so I just felt like I didn't have a voice and she wasn't
Yeah.
listening to me, but I didn't have the fight anymore
Yeah.
because I had to go. Now I had to focus on my dad
Yeah.
and write his obituary, plan his funeral. Like, it was just unbelievable. Um, and struggle with my faith at that time too.
Yeah.
That was hard. And, some people say, well, that's when you draw stronger. And I
Yeah.
kind of just was like, I have to go do life and figure everything out by
Mhm.
myself. Um,
'Cause life keeps happening.
oh yeah,
No
no
matter
matter
what.
what.
When you're diagnosed,
It,
tragedy happens,
yeah.
kids
Well,
get older, stuff
and you
keeps
don't
happening.
just go through cancer. It's like
No.
everything's coming at once. And it's just so you don't realize how much you can really bear. And I was
Yeah.
at that breaking point. And, my little struggle with faith was huge, but it only
Mhm.
lasted 2 weeks. And then I was down on my knees and I was like, Lord, I surrender everything because I can't do this.
By
And
myself. Yep.
yeah, and my life totally changed around
Mm.
positively. And I'm not saying I don't have trials and tribulations, but it is so much different now that I don't try to carry the burden of everything. And, I know God's got me. So went to my appointment with her, and I had the lumpectomy because now we've been playing this game of back and forth for 5 weeks now. And I am like ready to get this cancer out. What it
Yeah.
was calcification. Now it's cancer.
Yeah.
What's happening? Oh my gosh, a week later at my post-op for the lumpectomy, and she inserted rods for the
Yeah.
radiation. She said, the nurse called and said, "Hi, Tara, I just want to let you know your results for the pathology. It looks like we got clean margins, but we do want to let you know it did start spreading and it is invasive." And my head spun. And I said, What do you mean?" And she was like,
Mhm.
"Well, you have invasive ductal carcinoma." And I said,
Mhm.
I was so furious
Mhm.
because why? Why? And
Yes.
so in a matter of less than 6 weeks, it went from calcification to invasive ductal carcinoma. In 6 weeks.
That's why.
If I would have
Yeah.
waited 6 months, I may not be here.
That's why I believe I connected with you. Very similar stories, calcification, advocated, went to get a second opinion, and then all of a sudden, and it's not all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I have invasive. It's in
Yeah.
my lymph nodes. Now we're
Mhm.
doing surgery because they said you're just gonna get a new set of tatas, and then we're doing chemotherapy.
Yeah.
We're doing all these things, and you have to continue to advocate. You
You
have to
have to.
advocate for yourself
Mhm.
because you know your body, and it's important that the doctors know that you know your body as
Yeah.
well. I had a
When
great
there's a
team.
voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had a great team, but they knew that if my husband was coming in that room, which he came in every single time, every single day, every single appointment, and
As he
I
should.
know, as he should, right? And it was at the point where I was like, "I'm the patient, can y'all please pay attention to me?"
Yeah.
Uh, but he was there advocating for me too. But just think about all the women who don't have that.
Oh,
You're
I
a
know.
nurse,
And I
you
meet them.
advocate. Yes, it is
Yeah.
very, very difficult.
It's so
So
heartbreaking.
it is. So after getting your second reality check,
Yeah. I found
would
my
you
voice.
you found your voice,
Found it.
okay?
Yep, I went to that post-op. And
Mhm.
I had already done a research for that second opinion, or not second opinion, but second surgeon, I should say.
Mhm.
And I went into her office and I sat down and she goes with her back to me, "Well, so your diagnosis has changed." And I said, "I do." And she
Mhm.
said, "So now we're going to have to talk about a different treatment and or, expand on." And I go, "No, we're going to talk about a double mastectomy and we're not going
Mhm.
to talk about anything
Go
else. And
back and forth.
if you can't support me in my decision, I got to go. I got to go to
Mhm.
a doctor that will listen to me. And God forbid you're ever standing in my position, in my shoes, and you're speaking to your surgeon and they won't listen to you. Like,
Mhm.
listen to me, what I'm saying." And she put her hand on my knee and she was like, "Let's just take a deep breath and we're gonna, I agree. I agree, Tara." I was like, "I'm
Wow.
39.
Yeah.
Don't want to deal with this forever. I want to be aggressive." And
Mhm.
she was like, "Okay, we're gonna submit it to the insurance and then we'll schedule that." And we did, and it was approved, and we moved forward. And then May 29th, 2012, we did the double mastectomy with
Mm.
immediate reconstruction, so which included the expanders.
Yes.
Um, so just to finish off with her, I see her at events sometimes,
Yeah.
and when I ever am asked and I share that part of my journey, um,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say her name and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say all that, but because that's not what's important. What's important is I hope she heard me. And
Yeah.
I hope that she now treats others, patients, like at least listen to them,
Yeah.
you know.
Hear
Yeah,
them out, because
hear them.
after your surgery and then you have to go through radiation?
Me, no. So doing the double mastectomy,
Mhm.
was I didn't have to do radiation then. And
Oh,
so that's
wow.
why I kept telling her because I know, and in some cases you don't have that option. You have to do
Yeah.
radiation. And I'm
Yeah.
not anti-medicine. I'm a nurse,
Yes.
24 years. I'm a
Mhm.
medical professional. So I'm not against medication and treatments. Like I am definitely for it. But for me, it absolutely, Tammy. But for
Yes.
me, that's right.
Taking control of your health.
Yes. But for me, it was just like, I knew what I needed to do, and so, we did the double mastectomy, with the
Mhm.
explants. I got Tammy threw me off.
Well,
You're
she's
amazing.
definitely gonna be cheering you on because she's one of your biggest cheerleaders, right? She is one of
Her and
your
I
busiest
connected super
cheerleaders
good.
with making strides.
Mm,
So after doing that, and she believes in advocating, she believes in
absolutely.
making sure that that there are more birthdays and not waiting.
Yeah.
So after you did all that, what was next for you and your family? Because what was going on with your family at this time?
So
You
my dad had passed, and
Mhm.
then my middle daughter was going off to college.
Oh, wow.
And so I was actually at her high school graduation. I was there with 3 tubes hanging out of me and
Mm.
on antibiotics, and I got sun poisoning because you're not supposed to be in the sun. And so I was all rashed up at her ceremony and doped up, slightly, and it was just unforgettable. And so, but she had to go off to
Let's
college
back
then.
up because people don't know about those drains, and I
No,
think we have a picture of that in your My Story.
yeah, okay.
Those drains go everywhere with you,
Yeah,
and, those drains, they are something else. They go everywhere with you. I remember my drain actually came apart
oh, no.
while I was in the bathroom,
Oh,
and it's nothing like a good old drain smell.
mm.
So those drains actually came apart. I had to ask the person to please go get my husband. Please
Oh,
go get him. And it was my first time out. And you're going everywhere with those drains. And the fact
every
that you were out in the sun poisoning, like people don't understand the side effects and all the things you have to go through during that time. But you definitely, like your
there they are.
story with your drains, your first surgery, and then you actually doing something different after being diagnosed. So after this, after you have your drains, after you're going through life,
Yeah, right.
because it's still going on after your daughter's graduation, what was next?
Well, one of my last appointments, my plastic surgeon, which I give him so much credit because, you always have that one person in your journey other than your family and friends that really makes a positive, impact. And that was him. I mean, he was just so kind and listened to me no
Mhm.
matter what. He was like a psychiatrist at times, not just a plastic surgeon. I mean, I'd
Mhm.
go in crying and emotional and everything else, just about whatever was happening. And so I really give him a lot of credit for being such a great listener and plastic surgeon. And straight out of the gate, he said, "You're not having a boob job. This is not a breast augmentation. You are
Thank you.
having, yes, they are removing everything, and I will put them back together with realistic expectations, Tara. Our goal is to you feel comfortable with clothes on." And I said, I respect that so
Wait
much.
a minute. You know what my doctor said? Do you wanna feel comfortable with your clothes on or your clothes off? Which one's important to you? Both. Thank
Well,
you.
both. I sign
The
up for
way
both.
because again, this is not just me getting a new set of
Yeah.
tatas.
And
These try to kill me.
yeah.
I need something different.
Well, and if I didn't have the option for reconstruction, I was
Mhm.
okay with that as well. And
Yeah.
so, that I could, great, let's do it. And so for a lot of women, like and they decide not to do the reconstruction, I
Mhm.
respect that so much too. And I'm glad that we have that choice to be able to
Yes.
do that. But we did the reconstruction and everything, and I was so pleasantly surprised. I'm glad I put my bar so low, my expectations, just like, okay, feel good, look good in a shirt. And
Yeah.
then I was like, wow, I'm okay. You did a great job. I'm so shocked. You
Yes.
can tell. And then so, I mean, of course they're not real and they feel
Mhm.
weird and they get tight and you still where, they do the sentinel node or the axillary node
Uh,
removal, you have all
mhm.
that tightness and it is an everyday issue. But,
Mhm.
with that, I did nipple reconstruction that March in 2013. And at that appointment is when he said, which do you want to hear that story? Because it's bizarre in case anybody has
Okay. Everybody, you're grown, okay?
nipples.
So
They're
listen,
created.
go ahead. I'm listening.
So we said, yeah, from the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah, I want to do that. Try to get back as normal, whatever. Okay, let's cool. And I thought that was it. No color, no nothing. Well, I was asleep because we did fat grafting at the same time. When I came to my post op with the bandages and everything from the nipples, they were in these tubes that were about that long,
Yeah.
like 2 inches.
Yes.
And he took them off and I was like, "Ah!" I was like, "Get the scissors!" And he was like, "Why?" And I go, "I said I wanted nipples, but good grief.
Goodness.
I mean, they were like that long."
Believe
Oh,
me, it was ridiculous. It was really, really ridiculous. Uh,
ridiculous.
and they told me too, like, we have to start to make sure that one will be higher, one will be lower. And I'm like,
They didn't tell me
come
none of
on.
that.
Oh my goodness.
Just
Come
took a
on.
Band-Aid and said, "Tara, they're gonna shrink." And then he put a Band-Aid on. And I was like, "Okay." They did.
They
A lot.
did.
Yeah.
And
Which
and from
I'm okay.
seeing that, which was next? What was next for you?
So he said, "Let's talk about areola tattooing." And I said,
Mm.
wait a minute. What?" I've
Mhm.
never heard of this, and I've taken care of breast cancer patients over the years. I
Mhm.
never had one patient that talked about it, had it. They
Mhm.
didn't have nipples, I don't know, I didn't have one that even had nipple reconstruction. So I was like, "I don't have anything to refer to, like, I've never heard of this. Who's the expert doing this? I have to meet them. Please tell me where I'm going. Who is it? I got to
Mhm.
call them right now." And he was like, "Well, sadly, I don't have anyone. But the nurse has been trained a couple times. I'll show you her work, but let's keep looking
Maybe.
for that expert." I mean, he
Mhm.
was even kind of like, And I said, "All right." And I was so bummed. I couldn't believe, like, what do you mean? And so now this is 2013, not 1813. It's
Yes.
2013. So certainly somebody's doing this in the country. I
Yeah.
searched everywhere for months and found a couple traditional tattoo artists that offered it.
Yeah.
They did great work, but it just wasn't the right fit for me, and I'm not intimidated by that. I just these are special, and I just wanted it to be special. And
Mhm.
so I went back and I said, I can't find anyone. And he was like, I know, I've been looking also, but she got trained a third time and it's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's okay. And I
it's the
said,
3rd time.
get it, I'll do it. And so
Yeah.
I go in the weekend before, I'm with my girlfriends and we bring out lipstick and blush and everything. Like, what color are you gonna do? Oh my God. And we're making it like this is gonna be fun. You got to find the
Yeah,
silver lining, bring some sunshine into it.
yeah.
So I thought I was gonna be able to pick my own colors and sizes and all, and that just didn't happen. We went in there that day and she played her music and it was another procedure and it was cold and it was painful. And she said, here's 3 colors: chocolate brown, bubblegum pink, or nude, this size, or this size. And I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
And it was so just it was heartbreaking.
it
And
was.
I was so disappointed. And then she started tattooing. I was like, whoo, like, well, that is painful. And she goes, well, you shouldn't feel anything. You've had a double mastectomy. All your nerves are cut. I said, well, then I'm a miracle because I feel everything. And it's
Yes.
like a hot fire poker. And I
Yeah.
don't know if I can finish. And so I almost got up and left with half of a nipple tattoo. And then I just said, and I go, can you use lidocaine? And she said, well, no, but traditional tattoo artists don't use it either. And I said, well, I'm a nurse, you're a nurse. I give you permission. Let's get the
Yes.
light. She wouldn't do it. So I ended up completing it. I walked out and there's like a hallway at my plastic surgeon's office. And then the light was shining. I like to say it was divine intervention,
Yes.
but something came over and said, you have to do this. You're going to do this. I walked through the door. My plastic surgeon was standing there and he said, Tara, he was like, what do you think about that? And I said, that's unacceptable. I'm going to go
Yeah.
train with the best in the world and I'm coming back and doing this because we deserve the best. And
And
he do it. Yeah. And so a few months later,
I love you. I love you. And not only did you train with the best in the world, I
yeah.
think somebody put you in their magazine because you are just that stinking good. And
Mm,
I'm talking about my dear friend Oprah Winfrey.
yay.
Tell me how she recognized you in this.
To be honest, it took them, and I am not even saying it took them 2 months for me to respond to them and it's not that it was like, oh, me, but I thought it was
Mhm.
fake. Like I thought because I get emails all the time
Yeah.
and and just about spam or whatever. And I was like, Oprah
Uh-huh.
magazine, come on. And they just were very persistent, thankfully. And
Yes.
then I reached out and I did my research on the lady that kept on emailing me who
Mhm.
wanted to do the story. And then I said, I apologize, da, da, da. And she was like, Tara, let's get on a phone call. So we did.
Mhm.
She was like, please, I want to get this in. And I think it was now July and it was going in the September issue for
Yeah.
Breast Cancer Month for October. So, I wrote it, sent her my interview and all. And then and with all interviews, they go
Yeah.
from like this big and then they
Yeah.
take out what they want. And so to be recognized, especially back, that was, I think, in 2017. That's a
Uh-huh.
big honor. And I don't take anything for granted for sure. And so to have magazine, and then last year was Allure magazine. And
Yes.
I mean, so I've had a lot, I'm telling you, and I never got into this for any of that.
Yeah.
That I walked out of that room, it was because I didn't want another survivor to have to be in the position that I was in. Like, this
Mm.
is the final step. It should be celebrated and it should be special. And so it wasn't about what magazines and what TV
Yeah.
show and how many, books can I be in? And it wasn't anything about that. It
Yeah.
was about helping my fellow survivors
Yeah.
from what type of ink I use, where's it made? Like every detail was so important. My ink's made in United States, you know, uh, everything, no
Yeah.
pain, insurance, you're going to get reimbursed. It's just everything was super
So,
important to me.
insurance, reimburse, you take insurance.
So I don't take it, but what I give
Okay.
you, and I'm in the
Mhm.
insurance system. So then they, submit it for reimbursement. And
Okay.
I mean, I've tattooed thousands of men and women from all over the world, all over the country, and it's very rare to have a denial. If they do get one, I walk them right through an appeal process also. So
Mhm.
I'm not like, "Come by,"
Yeah.
I'm supporting you and I'm gonna advocate for you also. So if I have to write a letter or get on the phone, which I spent hours on the phone with insurance companies. So I do like to say I definitely pioneered in this field because I was on that phone fighting for our rights to get this covered by insurance.
Exactly.
Every company, all the way from military insurance to, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, it doesn't matter. I was on the phone with them. So if you go somewhere and it's covered,
Great.
yeah, because I was on
That's
that
wonderful.
phone
M
raising the roof. Raising
Mine's
the roof.
recover, but it is time for a new it's time
Yes,
for a I gotta get scheduled.
you do.
Um,
You just
I
tell me and that
definitely
door is open.
and there are only a few tattoo, that I've seen that I'm like, I'm pleased with that. You know, I
Yeah.
have a friend, Haley, who's out in Charlotte. She's wonderful, awesome, booked up. But it is so nice to have a nurse,
Yeah.
a fellow survivor
Yeah.
who has done it before, knows what it looks like. Because literally, they give you 3 colors. That's what
Yeah.
they were giving you, and none of those colors work for me.
No,
And
they
I
don't work for me, and it
yeah.
ended up being a circle and a dot, basically, and I thought, "How terrible," when he did such a fantastic reconstruction, and all they had to do is enhance what he created, and they couldn't do that. So that's what I
Mhm,
do, go in, whether you've had nipple reconstruction or not. If you haven't, I'll create a 3D nipple. If you have,
mhm.
we're gonna enhance what that doctor gave, made you, and then you're gonna walk out feeling more confident, just living your best life, and that's what I always tell everyone, you walk through that door, you go live your best life.
Yes,
Because they come
yes.
in and, they're nervous and they don't know what to expect. Well, my office is like a spa. So it is not, it's a medical office, but it is not a medical. It is
You wanna be
comfortable.
comfortable, right? And I think we have
Absolutely.
some pictures of your work, some of your work and being in the office. Now tell me what you did here.
So that is someone that had nipple reconstruction that was flattening. So it was actually, pretty flat. And with the tattooing, you just enhance that nipple, kind of make it more symmetric with the opposite side and shape it up. Add the Montgomery glands, which are the little bumps that we used to have. And
Oh,
I don't,
okay.
and I'm not like hyper the hyper Montgomery glands, so it doesn't
Yeah,
look like you have a disease or something. I've seen so
yeah,
many nowadays, and I'm like, "Oh, come on."
yeah,
And I think because I've been through it, like, it
yeah,
just so much more special to me. I want it to be as realistic. I'm definitely not God, but I want it, and they're not realistic
yeah,
expectations, but I want it to be as close as real as possible. So that's why, and it fades out like a natural areola,
yes.
not gonna look like you had a tattoo. I want it to look like you woke up that way.
And let me tell you, there is a difference when you wake up that way. I
Yeah,
remember when I walked past the mirror and I looked and I was like, "Oh."
yeah,
'Cause they're just mounds right now. That's all
yeah,
they are, mounds, right? And so I'm trying to make sure that I feel good inside and
yeah.
outside my clothes with knowing that they're not like what I had before.
Thanks, Candace.
And being very that's my lovely niece, being very
Oh,
she was so supportive and, your family members see you go through this.
oh,
She was
yeah.
one of those that seen me go through this and just how strong, everybody wants you to be during that time, and you're just like, "It's just another process. It's just another thing."
And, I when I have clients at my office or anywhere, but mainly my office, and my son Alex, who works in my business now and has for the
Yeah,
last few years, he was like, "You know what, mom? Those are called chair talks, your conversations that you have in there." And I was like, "I really love that because you're right. We go to
yeah,
church in there, or we talk about family. There's tears. Some are happy, some maybe not, some are
yeah,
fear. And I'm crying right along because I get it. I've been
Yeah.
there. Like, I understand. And it isn't all pink and flurry,
Mm.
fluffy and rainbows and butterflies. Like, this is a disease that takes away moms, sisters.
Mhm. Yep. I I got a phone call last week that, um, from a family member, her sister's best friend from 2nd grade just passed away of breast cancer.
Ugh,
She leaves behind a 10-year-old son, and I'm just like, "This disease, it runs
yeah,
rapid, like, what can we do?" And the people are going through and some people feel survivor guilt that they're still here.
yeah,
What's going on? And, sometimes you just gotta check one box that day. I'm
yeah,
just like, I just need you to either get out the bed, touch your toe on the
yeah,
floor, brush your teeth, bl if you gotta bless somebody out, whatever you need to do to move forward, right? And your
right.
forward is different from my forward.
Absolutely. And that's, talking about the chair talks, that is it. It's like, you don't have to always be strong. You don't
Yep,
have to put on this happy face all the time. And I think that should go on from the time you're diagnosed to forever,
yeah,
because it does never go away. You can
mhm,
be aggressive like I was. You can
yep,
fight for what you think is right for your treatment, and hopefully you get what you want. And at the same time, you're always gonna have a little voice back there, or you feel a bump, or you don't feel quite right that day, or your
a
hip
little
hurts.
pain. Oh,
Yes,
your hip pain, you forget that you're getting older. Like,
right.
you said your birthday was in September, mine was
Yeah,
in September too, and I was like, "Oh, girl, you're almost 50." That's what that is.
and I just turned 51. So,
Did you?
and I'm like, shoulder hurts, my hip, and, but the first thing that pops in my mind
Yep,
isn't, "Wow, I'm just turned 51." It's, "Oh my gosh." And then I'm like,
yep,
"Tara, take it back. Take it back.
mhm,
You're not gonna live that way." But so it's
yes,
always there, and I think it just makes me appreciate life. And I try to live every day, like, really being present and
mhm,
hopefully doing good. Like, my intentions are good. Everything that I try to do every day, I'm a human and I'm not perfect, but I
yeah,
try to live a better, happier, healthier life for sure. So
and
that's
wha
one thing cancer definitely put life in perspective and how precious it is.
well, why did you start volunteering for Making Strides?
Well, I've always, so like you had said in the beginning, when I first was diagnosed, and all my family and I, my kids, Amanda, Victoria, and Alex, and then my husband George, we all went to the first walk in North Hills,
Mhm,
and it was so inspirational. I mean,
mhm.
overwhelming and emotional. So definitely, if you've never been to a walk, take some Kleenexes. But it's happy, and it's reality at the same time. And
Yeah,
so I just remember, and I've said this a few times, like, I remember getting out of the car, walking towards the North Hills starting line, and it was nothing but a sea of pink.
Senior Pink.
And for me, I just went, wow, look at all these people who have been touched by this disease.
Yeah,
But look at all these survivors. All I kept seeing was survivor shirts. And I was like, and as me being just a couple of months out, I went,
yeah.
that was so inspiring, and it made me feel so good. And then I was meeting women that are like, "Yeah, I'm 15 years. I'm 25 years." And I went, "Okay, I love that." And then at one of the last walks, somebody was 43-year survivor.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
goodness.
I just hugged her, and I thought, you have to let everyone know how many years you're a survivor, because they are under 1 year right over here.
Mhm.
And we're like, they're still in that fear. Like, I'm just under my 5 year, 1 year, 10 year, so it's inspirational to see all these women. And I love that. So
Yes.
giving
Le
back, so
It's a
giving
big
back,
thing.
it is a huge thing. And when I started Pink Ink Tattoo, in 2014, I knew it was more about tattooing, and it was more about helping my fellow survivors, newly diagnosed to 43-year survivors. Like, I had to give back in my community. That's why I do a Day of Hope every year,
Yes.
whether it is, just getting all the nonprofits together to share their resources, information. It's so important to be able to give back to our community. And, I do free areola tattooing. I've given away, that in my Day of Hopes. And for uninsured or underinsured women, I work with a nonprofit that helps cover the cost. And so, um, every aspect was important, and giving back to the community. I've raised thousands of dollars for different charities. And I think for me, I couldn't just start this and just do this because I'm more than that. I am one of you. I'm one of
Yeah.
us. We are all together in this. So if I can help, in our community, whether it's nationally, internationally, or just locally, and make a difference, that's extremely important to me. So I'm definitely honored to be an executive ambassador this year for Making Strides.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
and you are touching so many people. Even with this, I just seen a comment from Tracy. I just seen her lovely boobs, I think yesterday, right?
you see how we do that.
We're always
Oh,
like, "You wanna
Tracy.
see?"
Mhm.
And I told her that you were coming on. Very similar, fight for what you want.
You
And
have
how I
to.
met her was so amazing. And this journey, I mean, it's such a strong thing. And her next thing is, you know, tattoos. Like,
Yeah.
what do they look like? How do they look like? And I jump on and see. If you have questions, ask, because you have been so wonderful to me. I just pick up the phone, I call you, I text you. Um, I join you in the fight. I make sure that I'm standing right beside you. Anytime they say, "Well, Tara's gonna be there," I was like, "Well, I'm gonna be there too."
Me too. I love it when you're there. Routine will be there.
So at your Day of Hope next year, definitely please reach out. I want to make sure that I'm in those resources and helping out, because you are a you are an amazing woman. And I'm
Well, I
blessed
appreciate that.
to have met you. Make sure you guys please follow her Instagram page as well. If you go on her website, you will see more testimonies about what she's done. You can
And
see more
pictures.
pictures.
Yep.
There are plenty. I was about to take all those pictures and I was like, I don't know if they're ready for it.
Well, and that's the thing about that. A lot of people, even in our community, who
Yep.
has businesses said, Tara, why don't you put them on your Facebook and your Instagram? I'm like, oh, I'm never going to do that. Will
Yeah.
you get more followers? I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
somebody is serious about this, they'll reach out. They're going to hopefully do their research, and they'll reach out, and I will give them thousands of photos if they do it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I am not going to exploit my fellow
Mhm.
survivors just to get 100 likes or another follower because I put breast before and after on Instagram. Like, I know
Yeah.
it's important to have it. It is absolutely important. And I encourage you to ask for photos from anyone that you are, thinking about going to. But for me, I'm not going to put it all over my social media. It's on
Mhm.
my website. It's
Yes.
there. And if you need more, I'll send you more. And that's just respect for. So Tracy asked about, do you want me to go ahead and answer that?
Yes, go ahead.
So Tracy asked, do I recommend 6 months after reconstruction for the tattoos? So I tell everyone, I go by what your doctor recommends. I'm not the surgeon. They are. They've created this beautiful mound. And now I go by what typically it's anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months. Some may want you to wait 6 months. Just talk with them. And when they give you the all clear, or if they tell you, you know what, Tara, or, Tracy, you can have this done in 6 months, and you reach out to me, which is probably best if you want to get it scheduled as soon as you can, then we can schedule up. Like, I'm scheduling into May already. I'm not
Mhm.
booked until May, but and I accommodate. So if I have to stay till 8 o'clock at night, we'll make it work.
Mhm.
But I am starting because she's going to be able to have tattoos in May. So we went ahead and scheduled her for May. Now, if something comes up and they say, and we're about a week before her appointment, or she has a checkup and they go, we really want you to wait a couple more weeks. Absolutely. We'll just push that
Yeah.
appointment out.
Thank you for answering that question because that's so important. I love that you
Go for
say
it.
you work with the doctors. Well, how many close relationships do you have with some of these doctors out here? And
Very close. Very
so
close. I work with a lot of plastic surgeons, especially in the Triangle area. I still go to a lot of their offices, but I have opened my main office in
mhm,
Lewisburg because I did get so big and busy, so I needed to have my own space. And now I offer, eyebrow tattooing as well. Which, when you've gone through chemo, most of the time your eyebrows don't go through. They don't grow
uh,
back. Yep.
I need to get on your table for that
Look
one
at
as well. And I need to
So
book soon.
And I had used to, because I only specialize in areola, 3D nipple, scar camouflage, which is skin tone.
Mhm,
And then over the years, people that I would refer to, it, their social media started becoming inappropriate. And I was like,
mhm.
we just lost our breast or one breast or had a major lumpectomy or whatever the
Yeah,
case. And like, they don't need to see all this inappropriate stuff on your social media. They just want to see eyebrows. Just give them some
yeah,
eyebrows. And
yeah.
so I was like, "That's it." Like, I got frustrated as a survivor, and I was like, "That's it. I will now offer it because we deserve it.
Yeah,
We deserve what we want."
we
And
do.
so, and let me just tell that at this out. I haven't said it out
Mm,
publicly a lot, but I am on that phone for hours fighting to get that covered. Just FYI, with
uh,
insurance companies.
because guess what? That goes. That's one of my biggest fears. That was one of my biggest fear, and my daughter would say, "Mommy, you pay for your eyebrows and your eyelashes." Yeah,
Hey,
pretty much do.
and my
I need to
boobs, and
and the boobs and the
and the
bras
boobs,
and all the other
and
stuff
the
that you have to fight.
bras.
Oh, we will have to do a second show for that one. Just
Mm,
talk about it was last Wednesday, I think was National Bra Day where you just
yes.
took it off.
Well,
Well,
and I have the whole outfit. So I've got the crunchy pink half shirts. I've got the mastectomy bras,
uh-huh.
the Velcro, and they have like 50 snaps up front and the drain
Mhm.
clips. And
Oh,
then, the underpants that are the fishnet underpants. Because a year later, after I thought I was finished with everything, I ended up having a hysteroscopy, which they go in, and I had a benign polyp in my uterus.
oh
Which
wow.
Yeah, and so I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe all this is happening." That's a whole nother show, but
Mhm.
again, I had to advocate for myself, like, "Something's wrong here. Can we check on what's happening?"
I did hey, I had a oophorectomy, so I understand.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that you shared your story with us. Just like Tracy said, thank you for sharing your story.
No,
So many
thank you
people
for
have said this has been a really amazing interview. I want to thank everybody that has come on and listened to our stories. But guess what? We need you to come out on Saturday to the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event. It is a 3-mile walk and it is at Fitton. And there is actually a survivor. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a whole survivor little area with massages and Tracy will tell Tammy will tell you fairy hair, all things, everything. We're doing it big this year, right? We are
which is
doing
important.
it big. It
That
is so important. It's all
I
about the
love the
survivors.
focus. Yes, and I love the focus is survivors, like, this whole
It's
section is dedicated, and
it's
being a
just
survivor, like, it just makes
survivors.
my heart feel so good, so I'm gonna be there. I think the ceremony starts at 8:30, so
Yes,
yeah,
yes. So let's start. It starts at 8:30. Let's get out there. Let's fundraise. And again, Tara, I want to thank you so much. I'm gonna have you back on here
anytime.
and make sure I'm gonna give y'all another hour now. Chemo Glow. Go
Okay,
ahead, donate to Chemo Glow, making strides, and I will match up until 10 o'clock, $500 for all the money donated. $500, guys. I'm gonna match what you put in. Help me
do it.
spend my birthday money, okay? Help me spend my birthday money and come out and see us in Fenton. And I think next year we've already got a date. Tammy, if you want to put that date in the comment, let me know. But they've already committed to next
Oh, that's
year.
awesome.
Next
Woo-hoo,
year,
that's
they've
right.
already committed to next year. So they really want to make sure that we come out, we do that. So next year, I know it's going to be in October. I think it's October. Help me out, Tammy, October 26th or something like that. But they've already committed to next year. So we need more sponsor. We need more resources. There's actually
Yeah.
going to be resources for survivors. We have a lot of sponsors coming back. We have presenting sponsors, but we're so excited. October 26th, 2024. Yes, I've already put it on my calendar. It is there. I got it right. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, Tara. If you guys have any questions for her, please visit her website. Also, if you want to be a guest on Chemo Glow, go to chemoglow.com. I promise you, it will not be another year. Life happens, things go
Life is
on, and I'm so happy, Tara, that you were my first guest of
I'm so honored,
2023.
Regina. Thank you so much. I mean, you truly, it's like we are sisters from different mothers, but
Yes.
met and God just said, you two, your paths are going to keep crossing until you
Yes.
just sit down and do it. And we have literally been just, we just, every time we
We
see each
see
other,
each
we're like,
other. We see each I see you.
yeah.
I see you. Well, guys, I want to thank Tara for coming on. Again, you can keep commenting. You can drop a note to me in the message, Instagram, Facebook. Come and make sure you join us in at Fenton in Cary. It's going to be a great time. It's this Saturday. It's going to be 80 degrees outside, like 80 degrees. Come
And
out,
sunny.
show up, and I know, right? And sunny, and donate, 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 donate. Thank you so much. Remember, guys, that life is still lifing out here, and we still have people who are struggling and being told that they have cancer. Let's make more birthdays. Come join us Saturday. Fitting starts at 8:30. I'll be on the stage. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Talk to you later. It won't be another year. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. Bye.